I'm Massey, PNY Photo Ambassador, and this is my photography. I've always been interested in wildlife for as long as I can remember. My first word, in fact, was tadpole, so it seemed it was destined that I was going to get into wildlife in some shape or form. And I started stealing my sister's camera and taking it out for walks when I was looking for wildlife. This was mainly just so I could document what I was seeing, but also so I could take photos and then take home and show my parents and my relatives and friends, this is what I've seen, this is right by your house and stuff like that. Now is what I think mainly photography is about, showing what is out there, what is on their doorstep. As a wildlife photographer, you do get to travel quite a lot. So I'm currently in the Cairngorms in Scotland in the snow and cold, where I've been photographing ptarmigan. Although it's not that exotic and only an hour's flight from home, it still is a completely different set of wildlife to what I'd experience on my doorstep. I spent 2 days up a mountain chasing after these ptarmigan, which are basically small birds no bigger than a football, and they change their plumage in winter to white so that they blend in with the snow. So it's quite difficult, not only climbing the mountain, then looking across a whole expanse of snow for a small white bird. I think one of the top tips is actually research more than actually anything to do with your camera. If you're going to go out and try and photograph a species that you don't have any idea about where it exists, what it does, what time of the day it's active, and that kind of thing, you're not going to be able to photograph it realistically. Certain animals such as wild boar have really poor eyesight but a brilliant sense of smell and really good hearing. So for them, that you could actually get quite close if the conditions were right. Say the wind was blowing towards you so he couldn't smell you and you were really quiet, you could get quite close. Whereas other species might just have brilliant senses all around and pretty much impossible to photograph. Certain birds, corvids like ravens, they're extremely intelligent and you've really got to pit your wits against them. So setting up a hide weeks before you're actually going to go into the hide and then putting a fake camera in to trick them, and then getting in the hide before it's even light, waiting there, nothing might happen for a few days, but just getting in before sunrise and leaving after sunset, just so they don't think there's anything in the hide, and in the end then you might get your photo. So it all depends. Some species might be more tolerant of humans so that you can get much closer to them and you don't have to put too much work in. But I think for me, wildlife photography is more about the challenge of searching for the animal and finding it instead of it just being there for you. Gear wise, I tend to use a prime lens such as this 500mm, which they're not cheap but they're a fantastic piece of equipment, and without it I'd struggle to get some of my photos. This is a f4 lens, 500 f4, so usually I just shoot at f4, so you have a really shallow depth of field, so anything in front of your subject is out of focus and anything behind your subject is, so your subject really pops out of the frame and is separated for any distractions behind it. I always think it's quite important to have a really clean background if you can. So I try and going now into more of a conservation photography style and actually showing problems going on in the world, habitat destruction, illegal poaching, and it really brings it home to people. I think you can read as much about something as you like, but it's not until you actually see it happening through film or photos that it really hits home. When I was in Malta, I could take a photo of one of the illegal killings of the birds, for example, and that night it could be on Facebook, getting loads of feedback and kind of creating quite a debate and telling people about something that they didn't even know what was going on within Europe. In the past 2 years I've been to Estonia, Fiji, South Korea, France, Scotland, Canada, Alaska, to name a few, and in all those countries I've seen a different array of wildlife, and it never ceases to amaze me on what kind of species you get to see, the behaviour they exhibit. So that's what keeps driving me on in my photography, because I know whenever I go out I'm guaranteed to see something new, whether it's a new species or just a new piece of behaviour.